Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier here to discuss a horror film titled It Lives Inside. There might be a few films with this title, so this is the one from 2023. PG-13 rating, kind of interesting. It kind of felt like it could have been an R, but I mean, who's to say? This movie I saw as one of these Regal Cinema, advanced movies nights. If you happen to have a Regal Cinema in your neighborhood or in your vicinity, check your local listings for Regal Cinemas because on Monday nights they offer this thing. It's kind of fun. It's $5 and it's a mystery movie. So you go to the movie theater, you don't know what the hell movie's going to play, and then you see a new movie that's going to be released in a few weeks. Now there's some ups and downs to this before I get into this movie. It Lives Inside. The ups are you get to see a new movie before anyone else and you get to feel all empowered and you're the cool kid in town because you saw this movie that nobody else saw. The downside, obviously, is you don't get to pick the movie. So if, say, you hate horror films and you went to this mystery movie last week and it turns out to be this horror film, It Lives Inside, and then you're all freaked out and you're upset. Or say you don't like comedies and you go and the first mystery movie I saw in the summer of 2023 was Theater Camp. Now I'm pretty flexible. I like most types of movies. I'm open minded. But Theater Camp, if you're not into comedies or a specific type of parody comedy, you would be upset with that. I mean, I did do a review of Theater Camp. I enjoyed it, but it was a lot like, Best in Show, those Christopher Guest types of parody films. So that's the ups and the downs. Further up is the discounted price of $5. Another down is no offense to Regal Cinemas. I do appreciate them. However, they are not quite up to par with, they don't, at least the Regal Cinema in my neighborhood does not have the reclining seats. The screen is not the best. The sound is not the best. I still go there. I still support their theater, but it does feel a little bit like it's 10 or 15 years behind because quite frankly, AMC and Cinemark are doing much better with their presentations, at least in my vicinity. Now let's get to this film. Should you go see it? Should you go not? If once again, I say this a lot, if you're a horror film fan, there's some people like myself that just tend to gravitate to horror films, and there are people that like horror films even more than I do. That they can list all these obscure sequels and obscure this and obscure that. I'm kind of like a guy that if a movie is good, I'll see it, but I'm not going to watch every horror film just to say that I watched every horror film. This one I think is worth seeing in your horror film world for the horror fans. I do have friends that get a little bit squeamish. They get a little upset if anything's too intense with the blood, the guts. I don't think that this movie falls into that category, although I think it kind of walks the line. Like I said, I'm surprised it's just a PG-13 rating. It kind of felt like a strong, like a regular R rating to me, but who's to say? Um, and what's interesting about this movie is we kind of have this storyline that we've seen in other films recently. It's the person of a strong ethnic heritage. In this case, our lead character is Sam. I think she's like a high school junior or maybe a senior, and she's an Indian American teen. Her father is quite assimilated to American suburban culture, but her mom is holding on to the old ways, the Indian ways of cooking dinner and all that good stuff. And Sam kind of leans towards she wants to be like every other pretentious young female in high school. She wants to be checking her phone and gossiping and making out with cute boys and doing all the things that young women do these days. And not very respectful to her mother's opinion of the traditions of the Indian family and making these special meals and doing all these things. And so that's kind of our background here. The young woman is kind of caught between worlds. She's trying to assimilate. She's trying to, be part of the suburban scene in high school, which has all its pressures and you must look good and you must do this and you must do that. And yet her mom wants her to, stay at home and be a daisy, as Sam says, in a brutal interaction. So, I mean, I could understand this whole plight. as a white male in America. I mean, maybe not as much as other people could understand it, but I mean, everybody has parental issues. You're trying to please your parents. Your parents, they're trying to please you. No one can get pleased. Everyone's upset. So I mean, I get it. So I did like that. I mean, I thought that was good. And also, to be quite honest, I can't remember seeing another film, an Indian American horror film. I'm sure that with all these wonderful Indian films, I mean, film is huge in India. I'm sure they have thousands, millions of their own horror films. But for this, specifically to take place in the United States with an Indian American family, that was unique, at least to me. I could be forgetting something. But then from there, it's kind of a typical horror film. There's some type of monster, some type of ghoul. This is in a jar. My Michael buddy AJ Norris is showing up. Good to see you here, Michael. We're talking about this new horror film that's going to be released soon. It Lives Inside. This is live, folks. I mean, this is a growing channel. For those of you that know or don't know, this channel, One Mike Messier, is where we do the Mike's Instant Movie Reviews. And I also do my life rants and so forth. Michael AJ is also a subscriber to One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan, where I discuss pro wrestling and sports. We have a big NFL day today. Opening day, with the exception of Thursday. That was a great game. And of course, Man and a Camera Films, One Man and a Camera Films, where you can see my own films. You and I are about on the same page, Michael AJ, because I was thinking about seeing Nun 2 tonight or tomorrow. I do want to see it while it's still on the big Dolby screen here in Jacksonville. If I wait too long, I'm sure it'll be replaced by another thing. That's what I try to explain to people, AJ, and you know this. If you want to see a movie on the best possible screen, you have to see it when it first comes out. For instance, if you wanted to see Barbie on the best possible screen, you have to go in the first week or two, because after that, another movie is going to come along and bump it off the best screen. And then Barbie will still be in the theaters for a month or so, but it's going to be on the less than best screen. And that's kind of where we're at with Nun 2. Nun 2 right now is on the big Dolby screen. I did not see Sloth House, buddy. In fact, I haven't even seen that listed. So this is new to me. So please, I'll look for it. Thanks for the heads up, but I haven't seen that one. So let me talk about It Lives Inside. AJ, I know you're jumping in late, but basically, buddy, this movie I saw as part of the Monday Mystery Film. I did not know what film I was seeing. This is the film that popped up. And it was good. I mean, for a horror film, I liked it. I think other horror films aficionados like yourself will like it. Is it the most original? No, but I still enjoyed it. I mean, I do feel that this whole storyline of the family having their family issues, the young girl, basically she wants to be like a Kim Kardashian type. She wants to, fit in with the fashion and the boy chasing and all the good stuff that suburban teenage girls do. And the mom wants to hold on to the old traditional ways. And then from there, we get our demonic spirits and our murdered boyfriends and the goth chick in school. That was a little bit confusing to me, folks, and I'm just going to be honest. I was wondering if the goth girl who's kind of holding on to this monster early in the film in the jar, is she the same actress as the actress playing Sam? And maybe that's just me because I'm just me, but they look very similar. And I thought it might have been a camera trick where the whole point of it was there was one actress playing the two characters. That does not seem to be the case. So anyway, I mean, but I thought that the actress playing Sam was very good. The actress playing Tamira was very good. Mikey, you need to check out Fan Film on YouTube, Dylan's Nightmare. It's supposed to sequels new. It's interesting. It's supposed to sequel New Nightmare and Freddy Krueger Nightmare on. So what I'm getting from you here, buddy, is that there's a fan film on YouTube called Dylan's Nightmare, and it's supposed to be like a sequel to the New Nightmare from the Freddy and the Krueger films. And I did like the New Nightmare film, buddy. I mean, I remember that one. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Wes Craven's New Nightmare came out 3 or 4 years before Scream. And I believe that the New Nightmare was kind of like the predecessor to Scream in a sense that, Scream had all these, horror film referencing horror films, type of thing. And it felt like, to me, He accomplished a lot of those motifs, as it were, in the Freddy, the Wes Craven's New Nightmare film, which doesn't get a lot of credit. But I enjoyed it because they did a lot of stuff where they had the actress who played the original girl in Nightmare on Elm Street, the original one. She came back and so on and so forth. Wow, we just went down a little bit of rabbit hole. My buddy Carl was supposed to be doing a video with me today. We had some technical issues. Carl will get it back together at another time, buddy. He and I were going to do a martial arts film review type of deal, but unfortunately the technical wasn't happening. As far as this one goes, I do say if you're a horror fan, you'll probably like it. If you're a teenager, you'll probably like it. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I'm very forgiving with films, especially with genre pieces. This is a genre film. This is a horror film. It's made for horror fans. If you're not into horror films, I can't guarantee that you'll get much out of this thing. But I enjoyed it, and I think other horror film fans as well. Okay, buddy. Getting over into our wrestling world again. Remember, I do have the One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan YouTube channel as well. Mikey, wasn't Bray doing horror films? What happened to that? Okay. Well, since it's a horror film question, buddy, I will go into this topic. And if you like pro wrestling, you can always check over to One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan. I just put up a little short of MJF heel work from Jacksonville. What do I think of Bray Wyatt? Well, apparently with The Fiend, I believe he was a friend of a guy who did the mask for Slipknot, and that Bray did make some references on social media that, when he was fired from the WWE during the pandemic, he was looking into getting into horror films, and that would have seemed to be a great fit. I mean, the creativity that we saw from Bray Wyatt, if we're going to say that a good portion of the Bray Wyatt persona and also the Fiend and also the Mr. Rogers kind of parody and all his puppets and everything, if a good deal of that creativity came from Bray himself, yeah, he would be really good in horror films, either as an actor or as a writer or a co-producer. And unfortunately, like for the wrestling fans who know this already, the non-wrestling fans may not have ever heard of this guy. This gentleman passed away at the young age of 36. Very sad. I just listened to the Arn Anderson tribute to Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotundo, the Arn Anderson podcast tribute. I just listened to Terry Funk's audiobook. My buddy Jimmy Faluca and I are going to do a part 2 eventually over on One Pro Wrestling and Sports Fan. I don't know what happened to it, buddy. I think what probably happened to it is look, I don't want to speculate, but it seems like Bray had some issues. Hi, Carl, buddy. I just mentioned you. I said that we'll get on the martial arts films review at another time when you have a better internet type of thing going. But Carl is up in here. As far as Bray Wyatt goes, I don't really know what happened. All I can do is speculate that maybe his health did not allow him to do everything that he wanted to do. And, I think the story being circulated, that was March of 2023 that he got COVID and so forth. Oh, you know what, AJ? I never did see the movie the movie Popcorn. I remember the poster from that with the creepy hand in the bucket of popcorn, but I will watch that one. Also, the movie Christine, Carl and AJ and whoever else is watching, the movie Christine, I believe from 1982, is playing in theaters today and Wednesday. I think I might go see that tonight. If not, I'll definitely see it. But I think tonight's probably the night that I should see it. I'm more interested in the 1 o'clock football games. The 4 o'clock football games, at least in my area, aren't that great. At 1 o'clock, I've got both Jacksonville and Tampa Bay playing. I'm kind of interested in those teams because they're the local Florida teams here. I don't think I can see New England. I don't think I can see Washington, the other teams that I'm interested in. So I think I will go see Christine at 7 p.m. tonight and do a retro review of that. As far as Popcorn goes, I should watch that, buddy, because I've never seen it, so I appreciate that. I'm doing well, Carl. Thanks for asking, buddy. I watched the big UFC thing, big upset last night. We have a new middleweight champion, Sean Strickland. I didn't know too much about Sean. I'm not terribly impressed by his verbal skills, but at least he's honest. I'll give him that. Yes, I am actually excited. I've seen the trailer for this one several times, Michael. The New Exorcist. Interesting that they have two girls in this one. They have two girls that are possessed. One, I think it's fair to say, is Caucasian. One, fair to say, African American or black, whatever your preference is. And that's a very smart move, to be quite honest with you, because maybe it's a cultural stereotype, but every time I go to the theater, it proves to be true. Black people love horror films. I mean, I don't know what else to say, because when I go to the horror films, it's a disproportionate amount of people that are of the melatonin descent of African American or black, and they really seem to love horror films. So why not put a young black lady and her family into the next Exorcist? I mean, for a creative idea, it looks like it's going to work. And I also like the fact that in this new Exorcist movie, we have two families and two possessed young women, because there have been several sequels to The Exorcist. I mean, this is not the first reboot of The Exorcist. It's the first one in a while. But I remember, I want to say 1990 or 91, there was a new Exorcist film. The original's been re-released a few times. It's been a while since we've seen another Exorcist, but I think this one, at least the trailer, looks pretty goddamn good. Pardon my French, but I'm French. And like I said, the multicultural casting, I think in this one, from a marketing perspective, it's a move of genius, because as I pointed out so clearly, black folks tend to love horror films. Stereotypes be damned. So let's see. My buddy Befior here, I'm really happy to have you, buddy. This is a new subscriber. Well, let's put it this way. I haven't seen you comment on here before. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I'm so happy I subbed to your channel. I never miss a video. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. And I would also refer you. I have actually now 3 other YouTube channels. If you happen to be a pro wrestling fan, one pro wrestling and sports fan before, and other sports, mostly wrestling. If you happen to if you're curious if I make films, actually I do. And some of my films I think are pretty good. The Impeccable, Disregard the Vampire, a Mike Messier documentary, my feature film, Blood Sugar Sedace. They're all over on One Man and a Camera Films. And the other one, buddy, is One Artist, Mike Messier. I've been making art for about a year now. Coming up on December, it'll be a year. I've been making these acrylics. Of course, I don't have any that I can show you, but if you go to One Artist, Mike Messier, that's what I've been doing. And I'm making a YouTube channel strictly of shorts. So we're having some fun here. Ouija, is that true or BS? Scare people. I love films that were done. I think there was a film called Ouija Board, Michael, but I've done a Ouija board, I think, just twice in my life. And once when I was a kid at my grandmother's house, and there was a cemetery nearby my grandmother's house, and we were getting some indication of a spirit moving the thing. And I think it was many, many years before I touched the Ouija board again, because I think there is something to it. And even if the thing with the Ouija board is you don't know if any of your friends are kind of pushing the thing. So it's fun. But I think the problem with the dark arts, so to speak, the demonic arts, is that you really don't know. And I think it's possible. It's kind of like, be careful what you wish for, because if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. I do think there's a realm of things that we don't see with the naked eye, a spiritual realm, a mystical realm. I think there's things out there. I'm not signing up for every voodoo class in the world either, but at the same time, I think you've got to be careful, guys, because there's things that we can't control. Before, very nice to see you here, buddy. I am going to be wrapping this up. I'm going to be watching some National Football League. Before, I'm curious if you're here in the States or if you're somewhere else, but let us know if you can comment quickly where you're at. I do appreciate you tuning in. As far as this movie goes, It Lives Inside. I do think for horror fans, it's worth seeing. If you caught this review late, you'll be able to watch the whole thing. When we wrap up, you can review. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I did a Metallica review recently, the 2-night concert, the Jurassic Park 3D thing. And I am kind of thinking that I might transition into more of these studio live things as opposed to the car videos. just because sometimes the car videos, the lighting's not very good and people can't see my wonderful smiling face. All right, gentlemen, let me know where you're at before. I'll be curious. Thanks for chatting for the first time. I appreciate your subscription. Like I said, One Man and a Camera Films. My buddy Carl, thanks for checking in, buddy. Carl, we'll do our martial arts stuff again another time. Insidious, that is a good one, buddy. I like the Insidious films. Probably my favorite horror universe these days are the Conjuring films, Annabelle, and all that good stuff. All right, guys, have a great day. I'll check in with you later. Thanks for checking in. Carl, Michael, be sure, welcome to the fun. Look at my arm.